Hello and welcome to a more special edition of a basketball podcast. I'm Colin here with Chris, and today we're going to do both NBA and just recent March Madness news because, March Madness at this time of the year is a huge topic of discussion. But first we're going to start with the NBA, and to start off, we're going to talk about LeBron James reaching second all-time on the scoring list, ended up passing Karl Malone in the game against the Washington Wizards. And this is something that, once again, many thought was going to happen for a long time, but to see LeBron James do it is awesome. He's there in his 19th season, just incredible longevity. He did against the Washington Wizards, got a nice standing ovation. But now here he is, second all-time in scoring, right just behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And, as his scoring pace would go right now, LeBron James would most likely pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar next season. So, seeing LeBron make that achievement, he's not really naturally a scorer. So I think it just really is a testament to how the NBA is changing, much more scoring, superstars putting up higher averages and guys playing longer into their career. But it's also really just a testament to how much of an Iron Man LeBron James is, not getting hurt as much. But just an amazing accomplishment for him for sure. And next year we're probably looking at him moving into number one, which is going to be a huge event. Everyone went crazy when Steph Curry broke the three-point record, but this is going to be even bigger. We're looking at a record which has stood for almost about 40, 50 years now. So it's going to be crazy to see. But, moving on from the Lakers, they're currently at 30 and 41 right now. As it actually stands right now, they moved down to number 10 because the New Orleans Pelicans have been playing great basketball as of late. And, they're only two and a half games up on the San Antonio Spurs, so you're looking at them possibly be in danger to lose out in the playing game. But I still think they'll probably make it. Any team with LeBron James should. But, moving on from them, we're going to go over to another California team who has been getting a lot of talk of late, and that is the Golden State Warriors. Because the Warriors actually just lost Stephen Curry to an injury. And that is going to be a blow for sure. Because, Curry was putting in a lot of work for them, obviously. He didn't have as great of a shooting season this season. But you're looking at them being the third seed in the Western Conference. He's probably going to be out until the postseason. I'd imagine if you're the Warriors, you're going to try to rush him back for the postseason or get him back before. But just really goes to show just how kind of injured this Warriors team has been. They thought they were going to get James Wiseman back, but he ended up getting hurt. He's probably now out for the year, ended up getting a setback on his potential recovery. He possibly was looking at coming back this year, but that's not going to happen now. So, not for the Warriors, I do think they might run into trouble in this postseason. But, just a lot of stuff going on. And actually, two more things to talk about. Karl Anthony Towns and Kyrie Irving dropped 60 points on back-to-back nights. Now, Karl Anthony Towns did his against the San Antonio Spurs. It was a game which I was watching, and it was a game in which he just absolutely went off. Karl Anthony Towns has claimed before he's the greatest shooting big man ever. But, I don't know if you can make the argument that he is because you got guys like Dirk Nowitzki, but for sure he's making that argument. Just phenomenal offensive performance, getting the Timberwolves to a win, who are just having a great season at 42 and 30. But Kyrie Irving did his one too. He had 41 points in the first half. They were playing the Orlando Magic, and it was not a competitive game. And he ended up getting taken out pretty early in the fourth quarter. But if Kyrie Irving doesn't get taken out that game, we're possibly looking at him scoring 70 or 80 points. So just a phenomenal effort by Kyrie Irving. Both great games by both of them, both Karl Anthony Towns and Kyrie Irving. But, we see these high-scoring games a lot, and we've been seeing a lot more. One that was kind of surprising that I'll touch on for a second, Saddiq Bey scoring 51 points. This one also on the Orlando Magic. But, the Pistons haven't been a team we've been talking about a lot because they haven't been very good or haven't been very notable. But, they're starting to build a pretty solid young core there. Saddiq Bey putting in a high-scoring game. You also got Cade Cunningham. But, Detroit, they're already been eliminated. They've been eliminated much like the Indiana Pacers, the Orlando Magic, and the Houston Rockets. But going forward, that could be a young core to look out for. But, in other news in the NBA, we're looking at the Miami Heat clinching a playoff spot. They're now the first seed in the Eastern Conference, so them and Phoenix both clinching that spot. But we're getting near the stretch in the NBA where we're starting to see the playoff races tightening up. More teams are going to start to get eliminated, more teams are going to start to clinch. And it's really getting near crunch time, just 2 weeks away. So, not much to talk about in the NBA this week in terms of just general news and all that. But one huge topic of discussion in the basketball world of late has been March Madness, and we're going to get into that a little bit. I made my bracket, and it has gone pretty bad so far. I had Kentucky winning it all. That went pretty bad because they lost in the first round to St. Peter's. And St. Peter's is a small school from Jersey City. And St. Peter's has now become only the third 15 seed in NCAA history to make it to the Sweet 16. Chris, anything to say on St. Peter's making this historic run?
Yeah, just to get back to Kentucky for a second, I also didn't have them. I personally didn't have them going too far in my bracket. Just a prediction I made, but I definitely didn't have them losing first round. That is insane. And I don't know if anyone really thought St. Peter's was going to go to the Sweet 16. Personally, I chose Gonzaga to win it, so my bracket is still, somewhat alive. I believe Texas lost last night, if I'm not mistaken. I had them in my Final Four, and then on the other side, I'd have Kansas, and I put Michigan in my Final Four as well. So my bracket's still alive for the most part, but a couple of my teams that I had going, maybe I think to the Sweet 16, have lost, and Kentucky's one of them.
Well, another huge upset that happened yesterday, which has continued to hurt my bracket, is Auburn lost to Miami, which means that the only team that I had in the Final Four, which is still there, is Arizona, who actually just narrowly won against TCU last night. But yeah, Chris, your bracket's looking pretty solid right now. We'll see how it goes. But, St. Peter's, great to see for them. I mean, they're just a small school from Jersey City, a school population of only less than 4,000, and here they are. A lot of great games over the weekend. I mean, Chris, do you think that your bracket's going to hold up? Can you see Gonzaga winning it all?
I definitely can. I mean, they lost, 3 games in the regular season. Great team that they have. I personally have them also beating Duke, who are also in it, and also had a fantastic season. I could see that game going either way. I know a couple of people that had Duke winning the entire thing. But I'm kind of confident. The only one that kind of concerns me was Michigan. It was just one of my Cinderella stories that I predicted. But that's really all that concerns me. I'm kind of confident that Gonzaga could win this.
I mean, we're looking at Thursday. Michigan's going to be playing Villanova. We'll see how that turns out for them. But, the big talk of the tournament so far has been Duke, because this is Coach K's last season coaching. So, I mean, you think Gonzaga's going to win, but could you imagine if they possibly may continue this run and possibly win a national championship in his last season?
Yeah, it'd be great for Coach K. I mean, long-time coach for what? I mean,
40 years.
40 years, Jesus. I've seen him forever, it seems like. Absolute legend. And you know what? I would personally like to see him win a championship in his final year. They also have a great player, Paulo Banchero, right? Who looks like he's going to be a solid player. But that's definitely going to be a game that I think we're all looking forward to, Gonzaga versus Duke. Personally, my prediction, my bracket, I got Duke winning that. Gonzaga winning.
Well, in order for us to get that game, first we would need Gonzaga to beat Arkansas and Duke to beat Texas Tech. But, another thing we were talking about there is your Michigan in the Final Four. Michigan's going to be playing Villanova up next, who is the number 2 seed. That's going to be a tough game. I mean, are you feeling confident there?
I don't know. I definitely had that game occurring. I think I had them playing. I'm pretty sure I had them playing Villanova. It was all. When you make a March Madness bracket, you kind of have to have, or you don't have to, but it's definitely benefits you to have some Cinderella stories. Colin, I know you had one. You predicted Longwood was going to go.
Yeah, I had Longwood going to the Elite Eight. That didn't work out too well.
Yeah. I can only imagine if you chose St. Peter's, if anyone chose St. Peter's. Right. And you know what? I feel like some people might have, right? And it being a New Jersey school, I'm saying around here, in New York, New Jersey area, maybe I'm sure some people did, and those guys are definitely hitting the jackpot. But this has been a great match. March Madness.
I want to ask you though about St. Peter's. Their possible path to go into the Final Four is they would have to beat Purdue. I mean, we've seen Jaden Ivey over in Purdue just be outstanding. People are saying he's very much like John Moran. The comparison's definitely there. But then they have to also beat the winner of UCLA and North Carolina. It's never happened before, but could St. Peter's pull off the impossible and be the first 15 seed to go to the Final Four?
We'll just have to wait and see. It's definitely something I think all of us are here in this area probably rooting for, right? You kind of, it depends what type of fan you are of this, but, I guess a lot of people in this area might think, New Jersey team, let's root for them, also an underdog. I think I'm in that boat if Gonzaga does lose. Definitely rooting for it, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, at this point, St. Peter's already destroyed my bracket, so if it means that they can win a national championship, I'll for sure take that, because as it already is, they're one of the most surprising teams we've ever seen. I mean, I think the statistic was actually out there that Kentucky spends 12 times the amount on their basketball program as they do, which is like the largest margin for a team that lost it ever. So just wild to see. I mean, just crazy to see. But that's March Madness. And by next week, this time next week, we'll know who's in the Final Four. We're going to touch on it a little bit next week. But yeah, March Madness is always a great time of the year. So fascinating to watch that first week and just so many games happening. And this weekend, the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. And we'll see who those Final Four teams going to New Orleans are. And that will wrap up our special general basketball podcast. Thank you all for listening. We'll see what happens both next week and in March Madness. I'm Colin with Chris, and we are signing off.